Hi guys, Davesintexas here. And I keep getting this question over and over again. Is why am I picking on Gibson guitars and showing these modifications from China? Well, I'm not just picking on Gibsons. I'm not picking on anybody really. I'm just kind of showing a few things, and it all started out with that first one you see in line, and it's a little black Epiphone, special model, cost me 66 bucks. Right behind it is a Fender Telecaster from China. Right behind that is a Rickenbacker from China. Behind that is a regular Les Paul Standard from China, and Supreme from China. And here's how the story goes. Right, drinking buddies of mine came over, which I don't drink, but they came over and they had a few beers. And the questions kept coming back and forth about guitars and such. And you know, I own a bunch of Gibsons, over 50 of them. And they were asking about something that happened in Texas a few months back. This has been a while. About a guy outside Houston. He was selling fake Gibson Les Pauls for $2,500 a pop. For ones that sold for $4,000, the custom specials that he was selling. And they were the crummy ones, the ones that they first came out with. They weren't very well made. For $2,500 a pop, and he finally gets busted, and he's got like 80 of these things in his garage. And the police jumped all over him. And the question was, why would anybody think that a fake one was a real one? Well, because even the bad fakes were decent fakes, and these were kids being ripped off from their parents. They've never seen a goddamn Les Paul before, let alone touched one. Anyhow, they thought they were getting a big bargain. And I felt sorry for them, because it said in the article that a bunch of these kids, how many ever he sold to, 30 or 40 of them, were stuck with these guitars. They could keep them, they couldn't sell them. They weren't getting their money back. And I thought, well, that's pretty crummy. And the argument with my buddies became, well, there's no way they can turn that into a decent guitar because it's not made out of the same woods. It's just crap. And I said, oh, come on now. With the invention of the Variax, it's been proven it doesn't matter what kind of woods are in a solid body guitar. It's the electronics that matter, and that's all that matters. You have modeling guitars that could sound like a 57 Les Paul, a 59 Les Paul, a 70s Les Paul. Whatever Les Paul you want, you can turn a dial and get that tone and sound. It's just plain stupid simple now. No way. It's not made of mahogany maple. It can't sound like a Les Paul. And I said, oh, come on, guys. I could probably take a piece of shit and make it sound like a Les Paul with the right parts on it. No way. Well, after the night started getting later and people started drinking more, the bet got up to $500, and I took it. I said, listen, I'll buy a piece of shit guitar, and I'll pay less than a couple $100 for it, and I'll turn it into a Les Paul. Well, what kind of Les Paul are you going to turn it into? It's going to be something we can judge against. I said, fine. How about this one? Will this suffice? This one? Right? My newest one? Would it work? This is the real deal, folks. My custom studio that I can keep around the house without fear of being stolen or broken. Yeah, sure, fine. So I took that little Epiphone and I changed out all the parts on it. I did the bridge work, I did the nut, I did everything. Everything I changed on that guitar, I put in good Gibson parts. Of course, they come from Japan and China anyway. But I put on that guitar, and I said, now by ear, we can't really tell. But it just so happens I've got some old sound testing equipment for machinery. And I put this little Epi with its Gibson bunkers in it, Gibson pots, Gibson controls, Gibson everything. I mean, everything Gibson. Well, except for the tuners, those are the same. Inside that Epi, and I tested it against this, my newest Les Paul. Right? Tested against this one. And guess what? They were flabbergasted. This thing's made out of plywood. I paid $66 for it at a pawn shop, and I won the $500 bet. You follow me? A solid body guitar, as long as it's solid body, as long as you had the same parts as in another one, it could sound just like the same one, even though it's made out of different fucking woods. The woods make hardly no difference whatsoever. It's all bullshit and hype that you've been brainwashed by Gibson and every other guitar maker down the pike. So, after winning that bet, I sat back and enjoyed myself and played my little Epi Monster. I started looking online. I thought, for $300, I'd like to see what one of those, Chinese guitars plays like, what it sounds like. So I bought this one. I'll make sure that or not. It's the little yellow one I've shown a million times. Y'all have seen it. And I put Gibson parts on it. Well, first of all, I got it in. It sounded like shit. The pups were rotten. Half the stuff on it was broken. The frets needed work. The tuning or setup on it was just, there wasn't any. It was just a piece of shit. I put all those parts on. I hand worked it, fixed it, tooled with it, messed with it. And I tested it against my the Les Paul. And guess what? They sound the same. On the printouts, on diagrams, on schematics that came from these machines to test them with, both of them, they're the same. But you look at the little yellow one, it's not made as well as what it should be look like. It's made out of cheap stuff, right? Out of cheap maple. Not the real good, high quality stuff Gibson uses. It doesn't make a difference. It's from China. That's plain maple, right? On the side's mahogany. On the back, it's maple again. The neck's maple. The bridge is rosewood. It's got 3-piece neck. And inside it's got Gibson and Seymour Duncan parts. It sounds just as good as my regular Les Paul. And I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that just to say it. I'm saying that we're testing it. It's not just my word here. God damn, it's so heavy. So I tested my little Supreme against my Les Paul, and actually it performed better than my Les Paul. It's kind of shocking, but I think it's mainly due to the fact it's got a solid back. This is one heavy guitar though, and yeah, I'd recommend it, but man, I wouldn't play a gig with this thing. This would kill you. An extra 3 or 4 pounds, that's killer on your neck for a couple hours. What else? Oh yeah, I just don't do the Gibson. You can see right there, just cigarette down. There's a Fender Telecaster sitting there. Sorry for the camera work, guys. I'm just doing this on spur of the moment to answer the guy's question. It's a Fender Telecaster. Now I went in and put GFS parts on it. The newest Neovan noiseless PUPS. Man, this thing will spring. And it looks damn good as well. And I was lucky that the guy I'm buying these from cut me a big break. This is solid rosewood. And yes, I've had Luther check it out. It's rosewood. And he begrudgingly said, yeah, it's just a cheap piece of rosewood, not a good piece. I said, well, fuck you. What difference does it matter? It's got stripes on it. I don't care. So what they sand the stripes off and, and making this thing, or how they cut it, I don't give a shit. It's still rosewood. It weighs almost as much as that Supreme does. Finally, a light one. And here's my little Rickenbacker. Now, the difference in this is, I was still looking for PUPS for it. And no, it doesn't sound like a Rickenbacker yet, but yeah, it'll sound like one when I put the PUPS on it. But I'm trying to keep the cost of this thing down. I'm trying to keep these where if somebody gets stuck with one, they'll spend the same amount it would cost to make a or buy a Rickenbacker. And unfortunately, this thing's already at $800. At $800 with his TV pickups in it. TV Jones pickups. So if I change out for $300 more, I'm over that price limit. About $200 what a new one or good used one would cost for a Rickenbacker. And yes, man, I was saying freaking woods that a Rickenbacker uses. No, it doesn't have a 2-step truss rod in it. It doesn't need one. Nice to have one, but it just doesn't need one, for God's sakes. And measurement per measurement with my silly calipers, it's the very same as the damn real deal. That's what makes it good takes. Now, last but not least, is my Fateville 355. It is also from China. It's a hell of a nice guitar, right? I don't own a real one, that's why I bought it. And yes, you can tell right there, just looking at that stock, that inlay is way too small compared to a real Gibson. But it's nice. It plays excellently. It's good as my 335s, the sound, tone, everything. Why? Because it has Gibson parts. It's got a it has pro burst buckers in it, right? So it sounds and plays just like a Gibson. Now, would it sound and play exactly like a 355 from Gibson? No, it wouldn't. And why? Because it's not solid body. It's made differently on the inside than the real deal. And tonal woods make a lot of difference when it comes to a semi-hollow body guitar or a hollow body. Tonal woods make a difference when the guitar is semi-hollow or hollow body, and that's the only time it makes a shit bit of difference. Yes, it does sound different than my 335s. It's bigger, it's longer, it's a little bit wider, and it sounds even thinner than they do, or more green, I guess you'd call it, than they do. Of course, they're older and dirt. Now, bottom line on this thing, guys, is I can have these sitting around till doomsday and not give a shit if they get broken, stolen, damaged, or whatever, because I always go buy another one. Well, maybe not that the Rosewood, but the rest of them I can buy in New York Minute. And if somebody steals them, my heart won't break. And I have them at my beck and call. Anytime I want to play them, there they are. And my insurance doesn't go up 4 times for having my real ones laying around. And my wife doesn't kill me for having 50 guitars laying around cluttering up the place. That's why I did it. So, any questions? Don't ask. That's why I did it. End of story. Davesintexas, have a good one. Bye.